Hey family, it's Tasha Marauder Prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up, let's talk about it. You guys, today we're going to be talking about a pretty heavy subject, right? A lot of channels don't want to talk about this. A lot of preppers don't want to talk about this because we give away secrets. That's what people think. We're kind of giving away secrets of what our plan is, what we would do. But I've never kept from you guys my thought process, how I think. And so I'm not going to start today. I'm going to give you all the tea. I'm going to give you everything that I think about in regards to dealing with marauders. Really, fortification as a whole, how to deal with certain people coming to your home, and honestly, worst case scenario, a large group coming to clean out your house in the area that you cannot handle. Okay. I think that there's some thoughts that I want to think about or talk about first, and then we'll kind of get into the areas, I guess, that you would think about when it comes to marauders. Now, I've thought this video out a little bit, but when it comes to certain topics, it's just easier for me to just kind of discuss it and talk out loud and not really have like a very outlined of exactly what I'm going to say in order like I normally do. Like I have notes, but I'm just going to talk through this, okay? So there's some thoughts or things to think about in regards to preparing or having the upper hand when it comes to marauders. And a large part of that is your location, right? Where do you live, and how, because where you live will determine how fast you may see marauders in your location. And then, which gives you time to prepare, right? And how you would handle that, right? Some other things outside of just location, there's a short-term fortification that happens, and there's like a hardcore long-term fortification that happens in my eyes, right? As things progress, you have your initial major event, right? Crime is happening. You're fortifying and wanting to do your fortifications in your home. But then at some point that shifts to a much hardcore, harder target type scenario for defending your home. This is more of I think of this from a military point of view, as far as this is like a fire plan for your home, for your property, defensible positions, patrolling, fighting positions, funnels of fire, all of this stuff, right? So we're going to kind of talk through that, talking through deterring, concealment, slowing down somebody, your perimeters, your points of entry, and your worst case scenarios. Like what's the worst that this could get, and what is your game plan for those? What's your plan B? What's your plan C? Okay. Part of this too, just as important as your location, is your neighbors, your community, your tribe. Who is immediately around you that's going to assist in this fight? It's very, very hard for one or two people to defend a location like an urban setting by themselves for a prolonged amount of time. It's just a matter of time before somebody bigger and badder comes along that you cannot handle. Okay, I hate using the word it's impossible, but it's very, very hard to defend that with very little people. You have sleep schedules, you have other things that will need to be done, and it's impossible. This I can say, it's impossible for one person or two people to just be on watch for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Impossible, because you have other things to do. You have to urinate, you have to eat, you have to do chores still, you have to handle business, take care of children, possibly sleep. Okay. And so you need community, you need tribe, you need people around that are going to have your back. And so I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's much, much harder. And it's just a matter of time before somebody bigger and better is going to come. So let's talk about soft fortification, right? Short-term fortification. You know, we'll talk about perimeter first. Coming into your location, what do you have as far as your soft fortification, right? Stuff like you have dogs, you have a fence line or multiple fence lines, you have natural barriers possibly that you have, grown or made that are naturally part of your property, right? You have things like locks on all your gates, anything that you can do to just basically keep basic people out of your backyard, right? Keep them from going through a gate and easily entering your property, right? Of course, yes, they can jump the fence, but having a good fence line, high fence line, and then from there, there's more stuff you can do. You can have bushes, right? If you have property, you can have dangerous bushes or planting thorny type stuff on both sides of the fence, right? To stop somebody, to keep them or slow them down. That's really what you're doing. Anything can be kind of broken through or gotten through over time, right? But it's slowing them down, right? So prickly bushes, thorny bushes on both sides of the fence if you can. Now, if you live in an urban area, obviously that's just on your side of the fence. But 2 or 3 feet of that makes it difficult to get over the fence. Now they have to jump into that. Now they get caught up in that. They're maybe yelling, making noise. It's again, slowing them down. You can get harder core at this point, right? Barbed wire. There's a right way to do barbed wire, okay? It's not just easy, and it's not easy to just put up on the top of a fence line like the movies show you, right? You have to think about, what does that mean? Where would you place it? Levels of that, wiring being fed through it. You have to make it difficult to slow them down, so it's not easy to just jump over it or put a board down to get over it or cut through it or whatever the case may be. But that's hard. That's more hardcore, perimeter type stuff, right? Alarm systems on perimeters, all types of stuff on the markets, from driveway perimeter stuff to just sightline perimeter stuff, right? Where you get alerted if somebody passes through that plane. So think about perimeter and alarms. There's some deterrent stuff, right? Having motion sensor lights out in those areas. A motion sensor light can be attached to a tree, right? It doesn't have to be on a fence line. You can use this on your property. Put it in certain areas where maybe you think you have a weaker part of your fence line, or an easier place where you think people could hop it or get over or whatever, and have those lights stationed on that. Again, possibly alerting you, having an alarm, and alerting you that something is out there. Now, this could be set off by animals, by, our stuff goes off all the time for dumb stuff. I'll look out, I think it's a moth that was on the camera, right? So take a look at your stuff, right? Cameras and seeing your perimeter, seeing when you can clearly see when somebody is been messing with stuff, been jumping, reviewing cameras and being able to review and go back and see what people did at nighttime or during some other time when you were sleeping. So think about your perimeters. Think about your barriers. What are barriers that you can have in your yard? What's natural barriers? And what's stuff that could work against you, right? You have stuff in your yard that could work against you. Trees, shrubs, little sheds, places that people can hide, darker spots. So you really need to walk your property at night, your immediate area of your home, and see what your lines of sight are, okay? Take a look at night, see where those dark spots are, where somebody could easily hide, get very close to your house, and you never see them. Maybe even have a motion sensor light that comes on, but there's a dark spot that they could still hide and get very, very close to your house and just watch, okay? A lot of folks may watch a place first so that they can see your schedule. They can see, is somebody watching? Is somebody patrolling? Is there movement? How many people come outside during the day? How many people come outside at night? Are they guarding? Like, what are they doing? People will watch a home first, a property first. A lot of people will want to get your supplies and get stuff, but they're not going to want to step into a dangerous situation, right? They're not going to want to, oh, that place, you know, I see that they have weapons, or they this or they that, or they're constantly watching. It's just too much. I'm not even going to try it, right? That's a deterrence, right? You have folks that are not going to do it. But as you go through a situation, it's going to get worse and worse. The longer a situation lasts, the more lawlessness, those groups start to grow. Those groups of bad people, of criminals, they start to grow. As more people run out of food, you have real people like you and me that are going to make decisions to get together to then find food, right? And they know that they're going to be going up against dangerous times. They're going to be armed possibly because they know they have to be able to possibly get through into somebody's house and get food, get whatever it is they're looking for. This is not going to look like it looks like on the TVs, you guys, with a bunch of Mad Max Marauders and they all show up. Could that happen? Yes. But this is like real people that turn into that type of it's a survival thing, right? It's a tribe, you guys. It's a community. That's why we tell you, build community, build tribe. That's what a group of marauders is. That's just a type of tribe, a type of group of people that have come together for survival. That's what you do. That's what we're doing, right? And so they're going to assess stuff, right? They're going to be armed. They're going to be wanting to get through stuff. And some of those are going to be more dangerous and more vicious than other ones, right? You have ones that will move on if you've not made yourself a soft target. And then you have some that are going to be like, we're going to burn it down because we want in there and we want to see what you have. And you obviously have something because you're defending it, right? So it gets kind of crazy. You know, thinking about things, just thinking out loud, you guys. I'm just going to go with the conversation. Thinking about your lines of sight for firing, digging in fighting positions. What does that look like? Now, I know a lot of people watching this are like, this does not apply to me. I can't, this doesn't even work for me. You're not talking about anything that's going to be helpful for me. I'm in an apartment, I'm in a condo, I'm in a high rise, I'm in a this or that, whatever, right? I get it. That's why this video is hard to, do, because the reality is you need to have your own land. You have to have your little piece of property that belongs to you. That's not in the city. That's away from people. That's not in an urban setting. We tell ourselves every day we're in a halfway, we're on the outskirts, but we live in a subdivision, if you will. It's a rural one, but it's still the same, right? And we talk about this probably daily. You know, if we are here and we get stuck here and defending this, we have a game plan, trust and believe. However, you need to have your own place so that you can do these things, so you can dig in and make a fighting position, and you don't have to worry about people seeing or you preparing and nosy neighbors and whatever, right? Or you can't do it because it's a rental and all these things, right? Fortifying on the fence line, on the other side, on the inside, having multiple fence lines, having funneling where you're funneling them in where you want them to come in for lines of sight, right? For firing weapons, okay? For kill boxes. Fighting positions, patrolling, OP positions, right? Being able to just get to a position where you're just observing, right? Having things like binoculars and different things so you can observe, okay? Let's talk about cameras for a minute. Cameras we talk about a lot on this channel, because of grid down. So we've discussed, okay, having security cameras everywhere, right? Maybe having CCTVs, a separate system that's a low grade that you can then hook up to a smaller solar generator, and you can still manage to have sight to be able to see what is going on outside of your house, throughout your property, different fence lines, whatever, but you have eyes on. You have to have eyes on. Okay, so you have to think about your current eyes on. You got to think about grid down eyes on. How do you continue to see during grid down? That could be the CCTVs that you have a powering source for. That could be game cams that are hooked up to batteries that you put up and that you review the next day. Okay. And you need to have this in a hidden way as well. Somebody comes along and has been, looking at the house, watching the house, and they're ready to make a move. And they're like, okay, I see this camera, that camera, this, right? And part of their plan is they're going to come at night and they're going to immediately take out the cameras because they know you can see. If you can see, you have a better chance of fighting them, right? So you want to have CCTVs, but you want to have some cameras that are hidden, that are not viewable by the average eye that is scouting for cameras, so that you still have sight. You have to have sight, okay, if you want to keep some sort of upper hand on what is going on and what is the situation. How do you know that the mob is getting bigger outside? How do you know that they have weapons? What type of weapons? How do you know who's talking and who's the leader? How do you know any of this stuff? How do you know that there's not some, while they're talking out front, there's some people already working around the back of your house and now you're surrounded and you have no idea? Okay, you're inside waiting to protect some kind of firebox that you've made, right? But you have no idea what's going on outside and what's happening. And you have multiple breach possibilities about to happen in your house, right? If this isn't scary, if I don't have your heartbeat racing right now, thinking about this and what you would do, that tells me that, one, it's good because you're thinking, okay? But two, you've got to think this stuff through and figure out what's your game plan. What would you do for these different scenarios, okay? Let me take a look really quick at my notes, you guys, and see if I'm talking about the things I wanted to talk about. Okay, so you got to have eyes on, okay? Second, you have to start thinking now, what is the game plan to make it where people can't make it inside your home, right? That's your points of entry, right? You have this mob, you have people checking windows, checking doors. Maybe they're waiting for the leader to kind of say what's going on, but there might be a point where you have to make a decision of when you're going to employ. Did you let them get that close already? Did you let them congregate and get bigger and get going, or did you already engage? That's the decisions you have to make. Where does that engagement start? Where does it happen at? You should be the one that plans where that happens. And what's the next step when that is breached or that doesn't work or is not effective and they get further? When it comes to your actual house, what can you do, right? We've talked about this several times, and this stuff I've thought about when I lived in an apartment, you guys. So your points of entry, blocking off entries. What is the entry that if you did want it to be breached, which is the weaker, I guess? You still want to fortify everything, but what is the weaker and weakest point of entry that you would, in theory, use as an entry that could be a kill box entry? Windows, securing windows, and you're securing stuff from the inside, the outside. So you have wood on the outside. Again, this is to just stop them, okay? Past the wood, okay, now you have, if you have the money and you have something that you can actually install like Mesh Tech. Mesh Tech is an amazing product, amazing security screening that you can put on your windows and stuff. That they have videos out there. Just Google Mesh Tech videos of people hitting them with bats. It does not break, right? It's amazing, right? So you could have that on there. Then you have, maybe a shatterproof glass film. Some people put like screening mesh, just the mesh that you use for screens, on the inside, and they'll just staple that on the inside just to catch the glass. So when the glass does break, it catches the glass, right? And so that it's not all in your house. Obviously, you could have wood pieces. For us, wood pieces have slots, so that, again, another way to have eyes on. I could look out that slot if I needed to look out that window. So that's a few things for the window. Doors, security screening, screen doors. So that's barrier one. Then a solid door, and making sure that you have a solid door, no windows, no side windows, stuff that people can break and easily open something, right? Heavy duty locks, 2 deadbolts, long screws. We've talked about all this stuff before, right? Zombie bar type barring, right? You have Nightlock, you have the Bull, which we have the Bulls for just every day, right? And zombie bars, having the brackets and the 2x4 in an area that's staged in your house so that if you had to throw those up quickly, you have that. Having 2 of those on both of them. How do you fortify this stuff? A lot of people ask me, how do you fortify large windows and screen doors is a big one. Screen doors, I say barriers on both sides. So plants, different barriers on the outside, harder for them to just walk right up to it, right? Barriers in the inside, pieces of furniture, whatever, or furniture close by that you have identified that you would put over that. That's after you've done the wood, done the breakable film, wood on both sides. You know, you fortified that space as much as you could, and then you have furniture that you know you would put in front of that as well. Again, mesh tech. If mesh tech is very expensive, you guys, right? Mesh tech for a screen door is about $4,000. Now, I know a lot of you guys are like, what in the world, whatever. But when you talk about the security of your family, you talk about, you know, getting something that truly, truly is stopping somebody. That's this mesh tech stuff, right? And people ask me all the time for your screen doors, how do you do that? And the mesh tech goes across the whole entire screen door. So the part that opens and the other side, the glass part. And again, they have videos hitting it with bats, right? You know, eventually could somebody get through that? Yeah, but they're putting in work, and that leads to other stuff, right? That leads to them deciding, okay, well, we're going to burn you out. We're going to do something else to get you out of the house because we can't penetrate it. And that's another scary thing is you fortified so well that they can't get in. And now, well, we're just going to burn you down then because one, we're mad. So we're going to burn you down. Who cares about the stuff we might destroy in the meantime? But they're so angry and they're so adamant about getting you out of that house because, and they decide to catch it on fire. How do you prepare for that? You prepare for that by having a water system ready to go, right? A firefighting water system with hoses, and you have a game plan for trying to put out fire. You have fire extinguishers in every single room, right? You have extra fire extinguishers other places, maybe kept in the garage or the shed or whatever, but you have fire extinguishers, okay? Maybe it's a matter of they did some stuff, they threw a Molotov, whatever, and you're able to see on your cameras there's a situation where you're able to go out with a fire extinguisher and put something out, right? Start turning on a sprinkler system, right, that comes on to help. There's things that you can do to fortify your home now, right? We think about things all the time like siding, fireproof siding. What do homeowners do in areas that have a high percentage of fires, right? Fire country. Well, they have fire siding, fireproof siding on their house. They have roofing that helps with fires. That stuff matters, right? So there's a lot of stuff that you can do, brick. There's different things that you can do to help where your house is not super easy to catch on fire in the first place, right? If a Molotov is thrown up on the roof, the house isn't necessarily going to catch on fire. It might catch on fire, the Molotov, but then it's going to burn itself out and you're going to be fine. Okay. Again, what have you done? And at what point have you engaged to where you've gotten to the point where you've allowed them that close to try to burn you out? A lot of people would just be like, well, they would have already been mowed down, right? But let me tell you about mowing down people. You mow down that group. You have people who love people in that group that get angry, that are also this mentality of you must have something awesome in there because you did all this, and they'll just come back. They'll come back later. They'll watch. They'll come back at night. They'll look for your vulnerabilities and they'll do stuff. They'll do stuff quietly. Okay, we're not going to burn you down in a loud mob. We're going to come in the night quietly. Somebody sneak up to the corners of your house, dump a bunch of gas and light it quietly. Okay. Even if you have people on watch, you have 4 or 5 people go around your house, with their gas cans and light you up. So see, you really have to be careful about the decisions you make. And again, that's why this is a hard topic, because there's decisions that people can't even fathom. People can't even fathom having to take somebody's life, right? As a Christian, even thinking about that, that's insane, okay? Thinking about your house burning down, where do you go? What's the plan B? You get overrun. What is the plan B for hiding, right? Where are your children during all this, right? Where are they at? Where are they hiding at? Is it safe? What happens if you guys get shot and killed? What happens to your children? Do they know what to do? Do they know when to come out of the hiding spot? Do they know where to go and what to do next when their parents haven't made it? This is scary stuff, and it's a topic, that people are like, oh my goodness, and it's why a lot of like these channels don't talk about it, because you gotta be a certain type of person to even think this stuff through like this. Okay, it's not rainbows and kitty cats, and it's not going to be cool. And just getting this video, I'll just keep it real, just getting this video ready for you guys and just really getting my mind going of the things that we do and the things we think about. It gives you pause. Like, we're not in the location we need to be. We need to continue to keep pushing and move, right? And so, I would urge you that you need your own land. You don't need 40 acres, okay? Because that has a lot of negative stuff too for trying to protect something like that. But I'm telling you, you need your own space. You need your own land so that you can prepare and get ready and set things in motion and get ready with, without everybody and their mother knowing. To include that, a lot of people that live in rural areas like that already have the mindset of self-sufficiency, self-defense, defending their property, defending their home. That's not a weird, term for them, right? I think it's a scary topic. I think that you should think it through. I think that for those of you that are sitting here with an apartment and you're like, this does not apply, I will tell you what we did when we had an apartment. We had an apartment. I constantly think about fortification. I was crazy on the entry points. There wasn't a lot of them, but it was, how do we fortify these to ensure that absolutely nobody can come in these windows and these doors, right? I can't put up a security screen door and then another door, but I can do the zombie door stuff on the front, on the inside. I can do the wood piece on the inside that I would put up. I can do the wood cuts for the windows for the inside. I can do some things, right? I can get some wood for the outside. If it's SHTF, it's like everything is really crazy. Nobody's going to be complaining that you put some wood up on your apartment windows. Ain't no manager coming around talking about why you put that up. If it's total chaos, like it's crazy, ain't nobody talking about why you putting that wood on the outside of your apartment window, right? Again, it's just slowing them down so that you have time to get your weapons and to protect yourself from the inside of your apartment. Again, though, long term, that's not going to work, because eventually those mobs get angrier. They get bigger over time. I'm talking about over weeks, over months, over years, depending on how long this lasts. Communities build. Dangerous communities build. Those are communities. Those are tribes, right? They're just dangerous ones, violent ones, right? That's their game plan, right? So it gets crazy. We walked the property around our apartment building at night. Where were the dark spots? Was there anything close to our windows and our door that was a dark spot where people could just come up? What cameras did we have? We had cameras on the inside looking out. What are trees that we could put some game cams on, or some other CCTV cameras on later? You don't have to have that stuff up now, but you could put that stuff up later, okay? Plan for the stuff now. Plan to have this power source for the CCTV. Plan to have the cameras. Have that stuff. Plan where you would put it up, and then put it up when it's crazy, right? Again, nobody's gonna be talking about why you put that camera there, right? We thought about where can we put cameras that people can't see. Even one camera outside of an apartment is good enough to just see, right? Eyes on, binoculars, being able to still see out windows that are boarded up, right? That ability to do that. We looked at the apartment. How could you secure an area? How could you block off certain walk areas? Getting to know your neighbors. What did the neighbors do? Which ones do we think would fall in line with listening to us and patrolling, right? Who did we think we would give the walkie-talkies to? We thought that stuff through on what we knew of neighbors and different things about people. It's no different here, right? Or wherever you are. There is some stuff you could do, right? Barriers, right? People climbing up balconies, right? People, oh, they can just climb up the balcony and get in, Okay, again, having those barriers, having those things outside of the, on the balcony, right? This is the thing. It's a hard topic, and it's much easier for somebody to say, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't prepare. Oh, I can't get ready. Oh, I can't do this stuff. Well, you just said put the mesh tech stuff on the sliding glass door. 1, I can't afford that. And 2, I live in an apartment. I can't do that. Okay, then do what you can do, because this is not going to be fun. And the reality is you need to get out of that situation, right? I don't mean to be gloom and doom like you're going to die, but the reality is a lot of people are not going to make it. And a lot of people, because of unfortunately, their situation of where they're at, okay, that is going to play into this. Those rural people, though, are not, never going to see that. All it's doing is buying you time to fortify, to put in those extra security items, to do those stakes and sticks and other crazy trapping type stuff that you've always dreamed about possibly doing on your land to trap people, right? Little holes and stuff, crazy stuff. I mean, there's some crazy stuff that you can do, right? And I don't want to sound too crazy today, but I got a lot of stuff up here on what to do, right? And a lot of that stems from military stuff. And then you just take it a little bit further, because that's me. I'm cray. And this is stuff that I think about. I'm sure that the chat has been going crazy with either your ideas, or maybe it's a lot of gloom and doom, like I can't do it, we're not gonna make it, I can't do these things you're talking about. You need to get smart. Another thing, worst case scenario, for example, barriers of your home, people running it. How easy is somebody to ram their car into your house, right? How easy is it in the first place for people to just walk up? There's things that you can do. Planters outside, planters. You can do a lot of planters that are cement in the bottom and then dirt in the top. Walls, little cute brick walls, trees. Be careful of sight lines, but there's a lot that you can do for barriers in general to your benefit, right? And I think it's important to have multiple ways of doing stuff, having a plan A, B, and C, having a plan when people come in from different areas, right? You plan this whole thing around somebody coming in through one kill zone, one spot, one gate, one whatever. And then they end up doing a totally different thing and hitting you from a different angle that you never even thought about. So you need to think about them coming from different areas. Look at your weak spots and figure out what you would do for those areas first. And then you think about, okay, but if they didn't come this way, what do we do? And shifting that fire plan, right? You have to move as things are happening. What does that look like? Okay. And where do you flee? If you have to flee or hide, where do you go? Do you even do that? You could flee or hide, and then they go through and get what they want, and then they still burn down the house, right? And maybe they leave fast enough for you to come out and try to save it and try to salvage it and put some water on it and all that stuff. Maybe, but maybe they don't. Maybe they're hanging out. It's a bonfire, whatever. And you're watching everything go up in smoke, right? Somebody asked me, what would you do? Your house burns down, all your preps are gone. Well, baby, there's a lot of stuff that's not in the house. That's the thing. So the house gets burned down. We would stay, we would rebuild. We would not push on, because we have so much stuff on the property, right? That I would not want to leave, right? So Would it be heartbreaking to lose our home, for our stuff to be burned in some capacity, for us to lose preps, for us to lose memories? Yes, absolutely. Okay. But we're survivors. And so we would rebuild, and we have stuff that's there, that's not in the house, right? This property. That's why we say you hide stuff, you utilize your space, indoor, outdoor, all of it. Okay. What do you have in that garage? What do you have in that shed? What do you have in the ground? What do you have throughout your property that has nothing to do with the house itself, right? And although that's devastating, it's your mindset of what can be done and your survival game. And to be honest, that's why this is hard too, because a lot of people can't fathom and even put it into their mind. And it's going to be a mindset that you have to have just going into it, that a lot of people don't have. People ask me also, how will you make certain decisions, hard decisions, right? When to engage, who to trust, who to take on, when to leave, when to employ a different plan, when to do this stuff. And I will tell you guys 100%, I will be talking to God the entire time. And I will be praying for discernment. And I will be praying that He will be telling me what to do, right? How to go about things, that He will guide me on what to do, and answer me, and answer a call for help and for strength. Because, I pray to God that we never have to deal with this stuff. I never thought in our lifetime we would ever deal with it. But now it becomes a point of, and maybe we don't, but it's also now becoming preparing our children. Okay, because if it's not us, and it's not in this time frame, which I believe it's going to be, it 100% is going to include our children. All right. And so if we don't get them ready for this, if we don't prepare them for this, we are doing them misjustice. We are not doing them good. And hopefully your children are walking with God as well. And discernment will be there with you so that you will know what to do with the decisions that are going to have to be made. Very, very hard decisions. So I know this is heavy. I know this is dark. I know this was probably a really good conversation for a lot of you watching this. Hopefully those of you that wanted to have this topic talked about, that you learned something, that you felt something. For some of you that have been doing this for a while, hopefully there was something new that made you think of, okay, maybe I need to think about that, this, whatever. And if at all possible, the game plan needs to be, the big time game plan needs to be getting away from people in the cities, so that it gives you more time to prepare, and you have the ability and you have more options for preparing for what's going to come. But I would tell you, you do not lay down if you cannot get out of your situation, if you cannot move away from that apartment, that condo, whatever. You make that situation work and you fight. Okay, because let me tell you, I would. Okay, we still are not where we want to be. Okay, so we will fight, right? If we were still in an apartment and we got stuck there, we would fight. Okay, so continue to prepare. Hopefully you don't feel discouraged. Hopefully you took notes, and just know that this is another area that's super important. Fortification, super important. Just as much as it is that protecting that, or buying and stacking food, water, meds, right? You've got to be able to protect yourself and protect your family, because there's evil out there. So I will see you guys tomorrow on the next video. It will not be a premiere, but I'll see you Friday for that next premiere as well. All right. Take care. Bye.